Hi. Okay, so this is the first video in a series of videos that's going to show an entire lesson from start to finish, broken down into around about sort of 5, 8, 10-minute chunks, something like that. Okay, so there's going to be about 18 in total, and you can watch each individual part in sequence as I upload them. So this is the first part of the lesson where we are setting the lesson up, we're creating the lesson plan. So have a look, see what you think, and also if you stick around to the end, I'm going to let you know how you can get a totally free 1-week trial to our entire video library. So as I say, hang around to the end and you'll get the link, and yeah, just sign up, totally free for 1 week. All we need is your name and your email address, no payment details or anything like that, so super easy to do. And yeah, you can browse around as much as you like for a week, and then if you want to continue, then you can subscribe after that, either on a monthly basis or on an annual basis. And where was it that you were going to be taking your test?
Malta.
Right. Are you set on taking it in Malta?
No, that was just her preference.
Right, okay. Is she based sort of that way?
Well, she comes from Stockton-on-Forest.
Oh, right,
so,
okay. Yeah, that sort of makes sense. And it also makes sense as to why you hadn't driven over 45. Although that said, still, that's a bit odd. Just another couple of things to point out as well, because I didn't really get a chance to cover it in the first session that we had. Mm-hmm. But you brought up reversing around the corner. Yeah. And you hate them.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. You don't need to do them for your test.
Oh, okay.
All right. It's not a criticism of any instructor that teaches them, because it's a useful skill to learn, but they stopped being part of the test. Can't remember how many years ago now. 4, 5, 6 years ago. Right. So you don't need to do them.
Okay.
And to be honest, if you can reverse into a parking bay, which we'll have a look at today, then you can reverse into a driveway, and if you can reverse into a driveway, you can reverse into a side road. Okay. All right, because they just get bigger as you go up. I know she probably would have taught you a very technical way to reverse into a side road, but in reality, in practical terms, if you need to get your car turned around and you've got a side road that you can use, you just back into it. You just make sure that you're not reversing towards anybody or anything, and then you just pull out again. You don't need to keep super close to the curb.
It was the curb thing that I could never
I would imagine. And did she teach you how to do a turn in the road?
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's no longer part of the test as well.
Okay.
All right. But again, it's something that you might need to do at some point, so it's not saying it's not a useful skill to have, but there are 4 manoeuvres that you may get asked to do on your driving test. So 2 of them involve a parking bay. Right. So you may be asked to drive forwards into a parking bay and then reverse back out of it. Reverse into a parking bay, which is the one that we're going to have a look at, and then drive back out of it. Pulling over on the right hand side of the road, reversing back a couple of car lengths and then pulling away again, and then the final one is the parallel park.
Okay.
That one. You've done that, and you've done the pulling over on the right. Okay. So let's have a little drive into York then, and let's, apart from the drive in, let's sort of make our way over to a car park area where we can practice reversing into a parking bay, because it's sort of quite important that we cover that off. But in ticking that box, it also gives me an opportunity to just have a look at how you're manoeuvring the car in a tight space anyway, and it might give me a little bit of a heads up in terms of how I might be able to help you with any of the other manoeuvres if you need that help. Okay. Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
Other than that, is there anything in particular that you felt that you wanted to cover off today?
No, I don't think so. Maybe roundabouts again.
We're going to do roundabouts. Yeah. I'm going to recommend you take a test in York, simply because there's a lot more availability for tests in York than there is in Morton. but we'll talk about that later. But if you're going to do a test in York and you're practicing in York, it's impossible not to do roundabouts.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
So we'll do those. That's part and parcel of what we cover off anyway. So let's get out onto the main road sort of via this next left. So just turn left,
Okay. Yeah.
down to the end, then turn right into Stamford Bridge, and then you know where you're going anyway, don't you? Yeah. Okay. So all I would encourage you to do on the drive in, picking up from where we left off last time, you just get that speed up when it's safe to.
Okay.
Yeah? If you're not driving quite as fast as you could do, or not accelerating quite as quick as you should do, I'll just give you a little bit of gentle encouragement. Just say, a bit faster, or whatever. But if you are able to take that responsibility on board, like you were towards the end of the session last time, and you keep that going, then great. I'll just leave it up to you. To get a totally free 1-week trial of our entire student video library, just click on the link which you'll find in the description below. No payment card or phone details needed, just your first name and email, and you'll be able to get immediate access.